Hey friends! Since I receive a lot of questions on Instagram every time I post about my time tracking, I thought why not make a comprehensible video about why and how I time track for language learning. I originally started time tracking because sometimes I just felt like I'm not doing enough and I'm not really putting in time, and I just wanted to see how much time I am actually putting in. Every time I look at my stats, I'm like, wow, I put way more time into language learning than I think I do, and it makes me feel a lot better. It also comes with a lot of other benefits because I can also see where I put my study time in, so what skill I'm focusing on the most and which ones I am neglecting. It also helps me to increase my productivity because I know what I want to study, and also when the timer runs in the background, I know it's study time and I'm less inclined to start something else or get distracted. It also helps me to set more achievable goals because when I track my study time, I of course know what takes how much time and how much time I'm actually spending in a week, how much time I can plan for next week. And it also holds me more accountable because I will see how much time I was putting in. And it's not about comparing myself with others, but since I'm posting how much time I put into learning Japanese every month on Instagram, I kind of feel accountability from other people watching and seeing my output. And when it comes to time tracking, I have three main pillars. So the first one is my weekly study journal, the second one is my time tracking app, and the third one is my monthly language journal. When it comes to my study planner, my main goal is to know how much I want to get done in each week, then also to be able to look back and see, okay, how much did I achieve last week? Did I plan too much? Did I plan too little? Where can I make changes for the next week? It also serves as a creative outlet because I can make it look cute and put a lot of stickers on it, and it makes me definitely more motivated to study if I see a nicely designed study schedule instead of just keeping the information in my head, which I will forget eventually. So I definitely have to write it down to be organized for my study session. I write everything down in a spiral-bound notebook. And for each week, I write the heading, for example, week 17, and then I will write all the skills or sometimes also the resources I'm using. So for example, it's the Gogo Nihon in 3 course, and then I wanted to do vocabulary, kanji, grammar, immersion, and speaking. So sometimes I will also mix the headings like skills and resources because the Gogo Nihon course covers basically almost all skills, and I don't want to separate it into the different skills because then it would be less organized, at least in my head. And then I will of course write under the headings what I want to get done. For example, a certain lesson in the course, or a certain chapter from the Kanji Look and Learn book, for example. Then I make little squares next to it and I can cross off what I've did. So it's kind of like a mini bullet journal. I started using it in 2022. And I used it since then almost every week. In the last weeks, I skipped the week sometimes because I didn't really have time to study a lot. If I have like a full study week, I will definitely make a little spread in this notebook. I also made a video about how I exactly set up my study planner, so if you want to check it out, I will link it on the top. If you've liked this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you want to know where my language learning is heading, and also follow me when I will move to Japan at the end of this year. Thank you so much, and let's continue. And as for time tracking apps, I have experience with 2 different apps. The first one I used was Toggle Track, and I didn't like it too much because I don't feel like the interface is very pretty, and it's also not as intuitive as the other app I'm currently using. So I stopped using the app, I think like after a year. One thing I also don't like about it is that if you want to change the colors to pretty pastel colors, you have to pay for the full version, and I don't want to pay just to change colors. So I switched to the Yeolpumpta app or YPT app, and this is the one everyone always asks me about when I post my monthly roundup on Instagram. I get at least one message every month, someone asking me about what app it is. So yeah, this is the famous app, and I like it a lot because it's free. You can get some paid editions, but I feel like it's not necessary to get the main benefits of the app. As I explain the app, I will look at my phone. So excuse me looking down. You have a timer tab, and there you can set the subjects you want to study, and you can also write to-do lists under each subject you set for yourself. So if you don't want the physical planner like I showed you earlier, you can also write all your study goals down also for the days ahead inside the app. And you can choose from a lot of cute colors, which is definitely a big bonus because you can also get monthly overviews over what you fit and how much time you put in, and having nice colors changes everything. There's also a tab for books where you can make flashcards, which I haven't used before, but yeah. If you want to do that, you can also skip Anki and make flashcards there. I don't know how the repetition system is, if it's great or not, but the option is there. Then you have the tab Insights, where you can see how much study time you spend studying each week or like each day, and you can compare it to yesterday or the week before or the month before. You can also see the time you spend on every subject or like skill you set for yourself. And you can also see this daily, weekly, and monthly. The monthly overview is what I always post on Instagram and get the questions about. But yeah, it's really, really pretty. And there are a lot more functions that I haven't tried out yet, so I can't really talk about them. There's also the option to join a study group. So you can see who's studying right now in your study group, and you can kind of study along and feel like other people are putting in the time at the same time you do. And there's also a little bit of a ranking each day. So you can kind of compare yourself in a nice way to other people. When I talked about that you can buy like bonus things, it's for example the cute pictures some people have, but yeah, I feel like they are not really necessary. There's also an option to make a widget for the app. You can see your monthly overview or what you want to do, like your to-do list, directly on your phone screen or wherever you are using it. And you can also set it so that you have little start buttons for each subject, or at least 6 subjects you use the most on your home screen. So you don't have to log into your phone, you just have to press record, and then it starts recording the time you study. I feel like this makes it a lot easier to use than some other apps. And then the last thing I'm using for time tracking is my monthly journal. And the notebook I'm using is from Notebook Therapy, and I think it's really cute. It's dot grid and not spiral bound like the other one I have. Inside, I always record what I did each month. Looks like that. I will always write the month at the top, and then I have an overview over all the skills I want to use, and basically copy the monthly overview from the Yeolpumpta app into the journal, because I also like to just have it physical and just to be able to look through it like offline, because I'm spending enough time online already. And I also always put my highlights down below. For example, when I attended mini immersion, or if I had an immersion resource that I found especially great. And then I will also put all the resources I've used in this month down below. And those are, for example, books, websites, courses, apps, YouTube shows and movies, and podcasts. And that's basically the main reason I'm doing it, to just see what resources I used which month. And it helps me especially for making YouTube videos, because sometimes I have to look up when I started using a certain resource, or just see when someone asks me about maybe a good N4 resource and I'm not quite sure because my feeling has changed for what's easy and what's not. Then I can look back and see, okay, when I was at the start of N4, I used this resource and I found it quite good or too difficult. And yeah, this really helps me to remember everything I would otherwise forget. I try to always record it in this journal on the first day of the next month. And I also post it regularly on Instagram together with the overview from the Yeolpumpta app. So if you want to see my monthly spreads, then you can also follow me over there. I know some people don't like to track their study time because they feel it puts like too much pressure on them, or it leads them to comparison. But I also feel like you can definitely have a healthy relationship with time tracking if you don't look at other people's stats and just compare yourself with yourself and where you were maybe a couple of months ago, where you are now. I find it to be really motivating to see like how I changed, and especially also how I changed with using my skills. For example, I never really used to speak, but now I'm putting in like at least maybe 2 hours of speaking each month, and it's still not enough, but at least now I started speaking. Also with listening, I tend to listen now a lot more than I did when I first started. So it definitely feels more even now with using all my skills. And yeah, that's how I track my study time. Let me know if you track your study time, if you don't, and why. Thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. Don't forget to share it with a friend. I will put you my video up here on how I plan my weekly study goals and how I set up my weekly study planner. So check this out if you're interested. And I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye bye!